Hello guys, welcome to today's weekly recap. I am your host Valentine Ume, so let's get on with the weekly recap. So starting from the daily, this is what we had on the daily beginning of last week, that was on Monday. We were actually expecting, or should I say anticipating, a daily pullback to premium pricing, then maybe a continuation down. But as you can see, we haven't gotten a bullish change of character to confirm that the daily wants to pull back. So this would have been our daily internal high, that's making it our daily change of character, showing us a bullish signal that we want to retrace. Well, as you can see, we actually like forming a bullish trend on the lower time frame. So let's get down to the 4 hours and see what's happening in the 4 hours. So on the 4 hours, as you guys can see, this starting from here, this was our structure, and we got another break of structure, and we were heavy bearish. Then we had a little pullback and another break of structure, making this our high, which got broken here. So making this our high, which got broken here, then making this our recent range, the high and the low. As you can see, we didn't break this high, so which means that this low is weak, and as you can see, we got the low taken out. And since then, 4 hours have been heavy bearish. We've been creating series of internal structures, but around here, as you guys can see, we had a 4 hours change of character over here, which shows that 4 hours wants to pull back. So how do we validate a strong low? We need to see a graph of liquidity and a V-shaped recovery that changes character or breaks structure. So this is a internal structure on 4 hours, which makes this a 15-minute high. If we get down to 15 minutes, which makes this a 15-minute high. And as you can see, we've been having series of uptrend on the 4 hours, which shows that 4 hours wants to pull back to the premium pricing. As you can see, we haven't reached the premium pricing. So let's head down to the lower time frame. So we're heading down to 15 minutes. Starting from Monday. So getting to Monday, we are in this big 15 minutes range. This big 15 minutes range. Now when the 15 minutes is big like this, you usually just follow the internal structure. And as you can see, our internal structure in 15 minutes is actually bullish. So we are having a series of internal bursts. Now heading to Monday, we are currently within this range, this low and this high. Getting to Monday, yeah, and this is our pricing. So we are waiting for price to get down to discount padding to look for trades. And as you can see, we have series of demand mitigation. So this was our last demand to be mitigated in this bullish leg. So heading down to the 1 minute to check our entry. So as you guys know, this was our last demand mitigation at 15 minutes. So what do we wait for on our lower time frame? We wait for at least 1 minute change of character. But before the 1 minute change of character, we would like to see 1 minute. Need to see liquidation, mitigation, and a V-shaped recovery. Then you can look for entry. So we have already ticked all the boxes on the boxes on the 1 minute. So what was remaining now is to enter. So this was our last demand zone that needs to be mitigated in 1 minute for the continuation trade. As you can see, with a nice 2 pip stop loss. Then our targets, we should be aiming for this 15 minutes internal structure, weak high, or 15 minutes swing structure, which resulted in a total of 20R. So this was getting to London, 7 o'clock. So let's fast forward to New York. So now getting to New York, as you can see, after our breakout structure, after our swing breakout structure, 15 minutes pullback and broke structure again. So this was more than 15 pips. So I consider this a swing structure. Then we broke structure. So this was our demand zone. I was waiting for to take trades. So as you guys can see, we got wicked. This zone got wicked but didn't close below, so making this still a strong low. So let's head down to 1 minute. This is our 15 minute demand zone that needs to hold. So as you guys can see, what we need to see on the 1 minute, we need to see change of character, that's liquidation, mitigation, and V-shaped recovery. As you guys can see over here, we didn't change character, and the 1 minute we didn't change character. So we didn't change character at all, which shows that we are still heavy bearish on the 1 minute. Now we got our change of character over here after weakening the low. That's grabbing liquidity from the 15 minutes strong low, which invalidates this demand zone because this is now a liquidity grab. So what do you guys know about liquidity grab? We need to trade away from the liquidity grab, not into the liquidity grab. So this was coming into New York. This was our last demand zone that needs to be mitigated. As you can see, the zone is quite big. So best thing to do here is wait for extra confirmation. That's another 1 minute change of character. And as you guys can see, we got our perfect setup, our perfect 1 minute setup. That's a flip that grabbed liquidity and also changed character. So now this is our last demand zone that needs to be mitigated for the continuation. As you can see, we are not tagged in this trade, and actually the trade flip. The trade flew nicely to the 15 minutes week high. So that runs up for Monday's price action. So getting to Tuesday around London session 7 o'clock. So this is London session over here. As you guys can see, yesterday we had a break of structure and the liquidity grab over here, making this a strong 15 minutes demand zone to look for continuation trades. So during Asia, we actually got 15 minute change of character and series of bullish trend on the 15 minutes and lower time frame. So getting into London, this was London 7 o'clock. We didn't get any trade over here. So for us to be in this trade, we should have followed the ranges. So when I talk about ranges, I mean following the other blocks. So to buy, as you can see, it got mitigated. Then this was our last sell to buy. That was not mitigated. Actually, I was waiting for price to come into here and look for 1 minute setup to take the trade up. But actually, we actually created another range over here, another sell to buy that got mitigated. So let's check the 1 minute and see if we have any trade over here on the 1 minute. So this was the last range on the 15 minutes, our last sell to buy, and now got mitigated. So what's the story over here? As you guys can see, 1 minute we actually had liquidation, though we didn't mitigate anything, but we had liquidation, a V-shaped recovery, a change of character. Then before the change of character, we actually had a flip and a change of character, making this a nice demand zone to look for continuation trades. As you guys can see, we actually got back to mitigate this demand zone. So following our last sell to buy, so this would have been our last demand zone that needs to be mitigated, and actually there was a trade there. So this was it on Tuesday London session, and as you can see, we had a really good price action on Tuesday. Coming into New York by 12 o'clock, we actually retracing back into this strong low. So I measured this low, this pullback over here. This was actually more than 15 pips, making this a swing 15 minutes range for me. So coming into New York, I was looking for trades here, liquidation, mitigation of demand zone, V-shaped recovery, change of character, making this our demand zone to look for continuation trades. As you can see, we got stuck in. We got stuck there really well, and our target was this 15 minutes week high. So as you guys can see what happened, we nearly got to the high and we mitigated this supply zone over here, and we then changed character on 1 minute, making this now a week low. But before that, as you guys can we ran up to more than 10 hours. Actually, we ran up to 18 hours before the reverse. So I think I took my TP on 10 hours within this trade, because actually New York is almost closed around 15 o'clock, so I ran this trade up with 10 hours. So that was what happened on Tuesday. So heading to Wednesday London session, 7 o'clock. As you guys can see, after taking the week low, 15 minutes actually switched bullish over here, and we were having a series of bullish movements. Then heading to London, this was our range, our last range on London. So this was my demand zone. I was looking for trades on this demand zone, taking these as a liquidity that needs to be grabbed into this demand zone for the continuation. So getting to London on Wednesday. So what happened here? In our demand zone, after grabbing this week low, we actually got our 1 minute liquidation, mitigation, change of character, then a V-shape recovery, leaving us with a nice demand zone to look for trades. So as you guys can see, this trade didn't go even to break even, and we got taken out. So this was a valid loss. We wiped another liquidity over here. So this was a 1 minute change of character, which we didn't get, which means that this grab of liquidity wasn't enough to continue the movement. And we actually had another liquidity sweep and a change of character, leaving us with a nice demand zone to look for continuation trades. So beware, this was our 15 minutes low. As you guys can see, we didn't close. There was no candle close over here, so making this a pure liquidity grab, and the low was strong. So this was a valid buy trade. So our targets, I took my first TP on this high. This was actually Asian liquidity high. Then second TP was on this 15 minutes week high for 20 hours on Wednesday London session. So as you guys can see, we didn't have a candle close on 15 minutes, making this a liquidity grab, and this low, making this a liquidity grab, and this low was actually a week low. What time was this? This was around 8 o'clock. So let's head down to 1 minute, see what happened. So on the 1 minute, we had our change of character over here, and also had a flip, the change of character. So there was no retest, so there was no entry for the shots. So 15 minutes. So we had a break of structure, marking our pricing. This was our premium pricing, so making this good demand zones to look for trades. So let's get down to 1 minute. So this was around New York. I still have around 1 hour window to look for trades. So as you guys can see what happened on 1 minute, we had our liquidation, mitigation, V-shape recovery, change of character. Now waiting for an entry. As you can see, there was no entry. This actually runs up Wednesday price action. So getting to Thursday, London session was around here. So this was our 15 minutes range. We had a break, so this was our range of 15 minutes. And this is our extreme demand zone to look for trades in 15 minutes. So I was actually waiting for 15 minutes change of character, which you can see we got 15 minutes change of character, leaving us with a nice demand zone. Leaving us with a nice surprise zone to take shots from. 1 minute, we got our liquidation, mitigation, change of character. I actually got a flip before the change of character, and the flip actually grabbed liquidity, making this a nice supply zone to look for trades. But as you can see, we didn't tag them, we are not tagged in. So after our 15 minutes change of character, I was actually waiting for a retracement to this our flip zone over here to take trades. But actually price actually reacted from this supply zone. This supply zone actually was the one responsible for this 15 minutes change of character, which is as well 1 minute boss. So this was a valid supply zone to take trades from. So following the order flow, we actually got another 1 minute boss, making this our leg on 1 minute, which we drew our pricing. So we are waiting for price to come to premium pricing. So price actually mitigated our flip zone on premium and didn't create a lower low, making this a weak high. So I was waiting patiently for this weak high to be grabbed as liquidity. So as you guys can see, we had an inside bar over here, then we took this high, making this a low. Wick actually got wicked, making this our 1 minute change of character. Now leaving us with this supply wick. over here to take continuation trades from. So I'll set my limit here with 2 pips covering the high, which resulted to a good trade. So I was actually targeting this low following the other flow. This should be a weak low. You guys can see what happened. That's why you actually preach, respond to the market and don't predict. So I was running up to down here. This was my first indication to get out of this trade, but actually held the trade. According to my plan, I need to see a 15 minutes change of character, which then signifies and confirms this demand zone. So immediately we had this 15 minutes change of character and a candle close confirming a 1 minute boss. Confirming a 1 minute boss, I actually closed my trade for 10 hours. So that was that on Thursday. So we actually got our 15 minutes bullish change of character, leaving us with a nice demand zone to look for trades to take out at minimum this week high. So on 1 minute we actually got our liquidation, mitigation, V-shape recovery, a flip and a change of character, leaving us with a nice demand zone, find the demand zone to take continuation trades on. But unfortunately we were not tagged in this trade. So that was that. I actually had a good RR reward for that trade, but fortunately we are not tagged in. So that runs up Thursday price action, because we actually fell after breaking this 15 AM. As you can see, 15 AM actually turned bullish. So this was our range at 15 AM. So we were actually I was actually waiting for this zone to take trade from. As you can see, we smashed the zone, making this our 15 minutes change of character. And as you can see, we didn't close below this low. So this was around 14:15 New York time. So 15 minutes was bullish. 15 minutes is bullish, but internal structure is actually bearish. So this was our internal structure range. Internal structure was heavy bearish. That's 1 minute structure was bearish. Then 1 minute substructure was actually bullish. Now I'm heading to Friday. London session. That was 7 o'clock. 1 minute substructure was bullish, and we actually also got another bullish signal at 15 AM, leaving us with a nice demand zone to look for trades. So let's head down to 1 minute and see what happened on 1 minute. This was our 15 minutes change of character. which actually didn't make sense on 1 minute because this was our high that led to this break of structure. This was our high that led to this break of structure. So 15 minutes change of character should have been a 1 minute burst, but we didn't get that. But actually we formed a liquidity pool over here, equal highs, and also we had a demand chain over here forming in our 15 minutes demand, and we actually got our 1 minute liquidation, mitigation, V-shaped recovery, a flip, and a change of character, which ticked all the boxes, leaving us with a nice demand zone to take continuation trades. As you can see, we are not tagged in, we were missed by a pip or so. So actually we were looking for shorts because that 1 minute substructure was bearish. 1 minute structure was bearish, but 1 minute substructure was actually bullish. So overall we were looking for shorts, and we actually got the signal here. We got a flip from demand and a change of character, leaving us with a nice supply zone to look for continuation trades, and also left us with a liquidity. This was a weak high because we didn't create a low. And coming into the liquidity, we actually had news on that day. We had news on 8:15 and 8:30, which actually helped the short trade down to break the 15-minute structure that was actually attempted to break. Now we broke 15-minute structure, and price was actually in 4-hour demand zone that broke structure. So this was liquidity. We have fed liquidity into our 4-hour demand zone that actually led to the break of structure, and our 15 minutes refined zone nested inside 4-hour zone. So in here I was actually looking for 1 minute entry, and this was around 8 o'clock. So we still have a window to look for trades. So on 1 minute, what was actually happening on 1 minute? On 1 minute we actually got our entry model, liquidation, V-shaped recovery, mitigation, flip, and a change of character. As you can see, this flip didn't hold. We end up mitigating our extreme demand. So here, best play here would have been, with all these 15 minutes bearish momentum and all that. So I think waiting for confirmation of this demand zone would have been best, which we actually got over here. Our 1 minute change of character, then in this demand zone, 1 minute demand zone, we actually got another 1 minute change of character, confirming this demand zone, leaving us with this demand chain. So this was our last mitigation on the demand chain, which also confirmed this zone, this demand zone, as a valid zone, because we got another change of character and actually a breakup structure, leaving us with a nice demand zone to look for trades. So here, depending on how you place your stop loss, this would have been a loss or a good trade. As you can see, we wicked the low a bit. So 2 pips from the 50% actually covered the low a bit. So this was actually safe, but I didn't take this trade. Actually, I took a loss here. So this rounds up our last week's price action. So coming into the new week, this is what we are actually looking at. As you can see, we mitigated 4-hour zone, and we already got in our 15 minutes change of character, bullish change of character, leaving us with this flip demand zone, and price has actually mitigated the demand zone, and we look like we are pushing up. So coming in the new week, I will be looking for long trades. So first of all, let's make sure so I will be looking for long trades, as we haven't gotten a bearish signal yet. We already gotten our bullish signal, which means internal structure is bullish. So I'll be looking for long trades to take out this week high. As you can see, we didn't mitigate this extra, so minimum to take out this week high and see how we react from this supply zone, because 15 minutes is bearish. So that's it for the weekend recap. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you for always choosing my channel, guys. Thank you. See you guys next week.